Events around America honoring Martin Luther King Jr. today. Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson laying a wreath at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. Here in New York City, Reverend Al Sharpton spoke out at an event about the role he sees of today's civil rights leaders.
Part of the role of activists is to get your attention. You don't see me on Dancing with the Stars. You see us dealing with social issues and to draw the attention to those issues. And if you don't do that, people are not going to deal with those issues.
Joining me now, Dinesh D'Souza, creator of the documentary film America and author of the book The End of Racism. Dinesh, good to see you. And so that's an explanation, I suppose, of types from Al Sharpton about why he behaves the way he behaves. You see a stark contrast between his tactics and those of Dr. King.
Megyn, the greatness of Martin Luther King isn't just his personal qualities, but it's that there was a tradition that went for 100 years, all the way back to Frederick Douglass, through Booker T. Washington, to Martin Luther King. And this was a century of black protest aimed at establishing the idea that we are in this country a minority of one, that our rights don't come to us as members of groups, but they belong to us because we are individuals. And in one of his most moving lines, King said that every man must write with his own hand the charter of his Emancipation Proclamation. So this idea that we should take responsibility for our lives and we have the right to be treated equally under the law, this is the Martin Luther King legacy, but how different a legacy it is from the current generation of race activists, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, but I would add Eric Holder and Barack Obama, who are cut from a completely different cloth and have a completely different attitude toward the colorblind ideal, which they reject.
How so? I mean, how do you put Al Sharpton in the same field as Barack Obama?
Well, they're not the same. I mean, Obama is actually a very odd example because although he's the first African-American president, he hasn't actually had the African-American experience. In fact, he's not descended from slaves on either side of his family. His father was simply a foreign student who came here.
He has black skin and he grew up in America as a black man.
Well, he grew up in Hawaii, and then he spent a considerable amount of time in Indonesia. He's made multiple trips to Kenya. He's talked about how he shares the dreams of his father.
That does not deprive him of his experience as a black man. Okay, let's move on to your next point, because you're also actually taking heat for some of the similar comments you made on Twitter today, including the following. Soul brothers, you tweeted. Obama gets along so well with guys like Holder and Sharpton because they are all shakedown artists of one sort or another. A little strong, no?
Well, I think what's happening is it's not actually strong. I think what we see today is that the leaders of today, far from trying to establish a colorblind idea, use race in order to get political advantage or financial advantage. They use race to threaten corporations to get money from them. They use race as a weapon of intimidation. They stoke the fires of sometimes racial division and even racial hatred. We saw a hint of this in Ferguson. So race has become an instrument of exploitation, not of justice.
I got to go, but I got to ask you, how's that other thing coming along? You out yet?
Megyn, this month I complete 4 months, so I'm reaching the halfway point of my confinement, and I get out the end of May. I'm doing great.
All right, Dinesh, good to see you.